So in the last lecture we have seen regarding the cleft palate. Today we'll be discussing about the cleft lip. Today we'll be discussing about the cleft palate. Okay. I guess I'm audible. If any disturbance is there, you can just interrupt me. Okay. So we'll start with the cleft palate management. So starting with a brief history, the palatal repair is more a recent operation compared to the cleft lip. The function of the palate was relatively unknown until recently. Okay, in 1861, the Passavant discovered the palate was essential for the speech. Okay, in 1816, the von Grief from Germany closes the congenital palatal defect. Then Diefenbach closed the hard palate with a relaxing incision in 1826. Are you able to see and hear? Anyone can reply just once.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So these were the instruments or the extraoral devices previously used in the starting when we have reported that cleft palate is hampering the quality of life of a patient. So these are the extraoral devices previously used, but nowadays we are not using these extraoral devices. The main aim of these extraoral devices was just to keep those segments close to each other. Okay, as we have used all this in the trauma patients also. So in the brief history, Von Langenbach is the first one who has given all this concept regarding the cleft palate. So in 1859, he closes the entire palate with one lateral relaxing incision on each side. Okay, the technique still used today. So this is one of the simplest technique to close the cleft palate. We will not go into detail regarding the epidemiology and embryology and etiology. We have discussed in the last lecture only. So in this lecture, we'll discuss only regarding the management part. Okay. Then the pushback operations become popular in 1900s. That is given by the Dorrance pushback and VY pushback. VY pushback technique is also used nowadays. Then in intravelar veloplasty introduced in 1969. So this was a brief history. The closure of the soft palate first and then the hard palate at the age of 15 to 20 introduced in the 1944. Most of the authors previously have suggested to close the cleft lip and cleft palate simultaneously also, but there were some contraindications to that. That's why there were different timings to close the cleft palate and cleft lip. So Leonard Perlow introduces the double opposing Z plastic technique in 1978. Okay. Then epidemiology and etiology we have discussed in the last lecture on the environmental factors also, folic acid, then chemical agent, anticonvulsant, tretinoic acid, corticosteroids. Okay, maternal smoking and alcohol. All this we have discussed in the last lecture. So what are the goals for the repair of the cleft palate? First and most important is the improve the speech. Second is the improve the feeding, and third is the avoidance of maxillary growth restriction. This is important point. You may get an MCQ on this. That is avoidance of maxillary growth restriction, because the uh, the procedure for the cleft palate repair may restrict the maxillary growth and it may affect the aesthetic of the patient. Also, the functional capabilities are also get reduced. That's why this point is very important. While cleft lip repair results in the immediate facial change or change of the facial appearance, the cleft palate repair can take years to appreciate the results. That's why this is a more challenging surgery than the cleft lip. It may require a secondary surgeries also, secondary bone grafting also. We'll discuss later in this lecture. So we'll just discuss about the timings. Various authors have given the various timings. That is, for example, the Thomas Graeber observed maxillary growth restriction with early palatal repair. So he has recommended the repair between 4 to 6 years of the life. Because of the speech problem, consequences was reached to the repair palate 18 to 14 months of age. Okay, because of the speech and feeding defect, some authors have proposed to do it at the age of the 14 to 24 months. Okay, that is balances growth restriction with the speech development. Most studies perform looking at the best stage of the repair palate. Still, it is debatable, but nowadays, what we are following, current literature is saying that we have to go for the repair of the palate at least at the 12 month of age. Okay, the speech outcome is better if performed at 6 months rather than the 12 months. So most of the surgeons, it also depends on the surgeon's preference. What is the timing? So most of the surgeons are preferring that from the 6 months to 12 months of age is best to get the ideal results in case of a cleft palate. Okay. There is some evidences that cleft palate repair in the patient that present after the 8 to 12 years will not provide good speech outcome. Okay, so that's why most of the surgeries were done in the previous stage only. That is, according to these authors, it must be done according to 6 months or 12 months, 6 to 12 months. Okay. The study at various, like we have mentioned, the study currently undergoes at the Guwahati Comprehensive Cleft Care. At various centers, various studies are going on that what is the exact timing of the cleft lip and cleft palate repair. But every institute and every hospital are following their own policies, and also depends on the surgeon's preferences. So basically, what we are following is from the 6 months to 12 months. Okay, so these are the timings. Then the management of a combined cleft lip and cleft palate. Most of the time, as we have seen in the epidemiology, most of the time they are combined with a cleft lip also. If there is a cleft lip, there is a cleft palate also. So what will be the sequence? Most of the time the sequence changes, but what sequence are ideally followed are closure of a lip and alveolus, and then closure of a hard and a soft palate. Closure of a lip, alveolus, hard palate, and then closure of a soft palate. These are according to the various authors. Okay. Then the closure of lip, soft palate, and the closure of hard palate, popularized by uh, Lesda in Sweden. Okay. Then the closure of soft palate, closure of hard palate, and the closure of a lip. This is a reverse order. So these were given by the another author. So one stage closure of lip, palate, and alveolus. So these are the different sequences according to the surgeon's preference and according to the patient's condition. What patient exactly need, we have to choose the sequence. Pre-operative evaluation, high quality pediatric anesthetic, especially infants. Okay, anesthesia is required. Airway should be assessed. Most important is the airway, because in case of a cleft palate, it is very difficult to intubate the patient and very difficult to maintain the airways. So most of the time the airway chosen is the oral, but in some cases we have to go for the tracheostomy. Also, we have to take care of the malnutrition and the feeding problems. So we'll start with the basic anatomy. This is the normal palate, and this is a normal. Hello. This is the normal palate, and this is the normal musculature or the anatomical landmarks that we should know. Etiology, in the last lecture we have seen, whenever there is a incomplete fusion of these primary palates and primary plates of the primitive palate, then there will be a formation of the cleft palate. So these are the various muscles, that is the palatopharyngeus muscle, levator palatini muscle, then these are the pterygoid hamulus, tensor palati tendon, and these are the palatine aponeurosis, which is present in between the hard palate and the soft palate. So this is a normal anatomy. This is in the case of a cleft. So we just have to close this gap, and we have to just have to make it a closed cavity. Okay, so that is our aim while repairing the cleft palate. So surgical technique, these are the various surgical techniques, out of which we have taken several which are more popular and frequently asked in the exams. So first is the von Langenbach's technique, second is the view Kilner technique, that is pushback technique, also called as pushback technique. You may get an MCQ on it, which is the pushback technique. Then the two flap Bardas technique, then the Furlos, a double opposing Z plasty. This is also a very famous technique used by various plastic surgeons also, and the no relaxing incision given by the Sommerland. So these were the techniques we are going to discuss today. Why we have chosen this? Because these techniques are frequently asked in the exam and widely used by the surgeons. Starting with the von Langenbach's technique. Okay, technique. Was described in the 1859 mucopharyngeal flap with lateral relaxing incision. It's a very simple technique. This is a cleft palate. Okay, this is a normal structure. You just have to do two incision, two lateral releasing incision, and then you have to undermine. Okay, and go up to the palatal bone. You have to undermine mucoperiostral dissection should be there, and you just have to approximate these two flaps and just have to suture it. So this is the simplest technique given by the von Langenbach. But this technique is possible only when there is there are small defects. In case there are larger defects, then we have to go for the other technique. Then we must be thinking of what about this second this raw area. So this raw area is covered by the dressings, and it will heal secondarily. Okay, secondary healing will be there, and we have to just close this cleft defect. So this is a von Langenbach's technique. I'll show you two photographs. So this is the initial defect. Okay, initial defect. Also, then there is infiltration. Also, you have to keep this. This is this instrument. Can you see this instrument? You will see in your final exam when Viva will be there. This is called as Digmann's mouth retractor. Okay, it is used in case of a cleft palate repair. Remember this. Then the major defect, we have to measure the defect. There are various instruments to measure the defect also. Okay, infiltrate, and this is the final closure. We have to take to, and this is the final closure. We have to take the through the, sorry, this is not one Langenbach's technique. Okay. This is the pharyngoplasty. I'll show you the one Langenbach technique. It is in the further slides. Okay. Then second is the view Willard Pilner's pushback technique, which is very, very popular. But this, there is also a drawback for this technique. This technique is also cannot be used for the large defects. Just have to take the simple incision like this in the V and VY fashion. You just have to push this flap backwards to just close this defect. Okay, so this is called as pushback technique. It lengthens the palate, improves the speech outcomes. Okay, Wenzel et al. Did not show the better speech when compared with the von Langenbach. Anterior fistula will be problematic. Sometimes there will be a formation of anterior fistula, and as we are keeping this for secondary healing, anterior fistula may be the problem in this stage. Then the two flap repair. Okay, two flap repair was given by the Burdak. It was widely used today, raising two mucopharyngeal flap based on the greater palatine artery. This is very important. You may get MCQ on this. Okay, what is the two flap repair, and from where it will get the arterial supply? It allows the good exposure of a soft palate musculature. We'll just see. So this is a Burdak's two flap technique, in which simple two flaps we have to raise. These two flaps we have to raise on the basis of greater palatine vessels or the greater palatine artery. Okay, so these were the reflected flaps based on the greater palatine artery, and then we just have to approximate these two flaps. This was the submucoperiosteal dissection. Okay, as you can see the pedicle here very clearly. So in this way, you have raised the flap and just have to suture it like this. Okay, so it will help in the closure of the larger cleft also. Okay, larger cleft defects also. So this is also very widely used technique. Then this is a post-operative closure. Okay, this is a post-operative closure. This is a raw area we have filled with a sponge or the bone wax, and then we'll put the dressing over it. So these are the two flap technique. You can see the two flaps here. Okay, these are the two flaps based on the greater palatine artery. And this is the final dressing given to the patient. Then there is a Perlow's double opposing Z plastic. This is also very important question. You may get a MCQ and you may get a SAQ or part of a LAQ also. What is Perlow's double opposing Z plastic? This is also widely used by the plastic surgeons. First described in 1978 based on the basis of the plastic surgery concept, that is a Z plastic. It is simple to understand but a little difficult to master and very difficult to administer on the patient. Okay, so it is very technique sensitive. So according to this, you just have to take an incision in shape of a Z. Okay, and that Z you just have to rotate. This portion will come here and this portion will go there, and like this you will close the defect. It is simple to understand but difficult to execute. Okay, I'll show you. Sorry. So what is Perlow's double opposing reverse Z plasty? Utilizes double opposing Z plasty to lengthen the palate, less dissection of a levator required, and also this Burdak, Marsh, and Nordoff also report improved speech outcome. This is the important point. Improved speech outcome. You may get an MCQ on this. That which is the best technique to get the improved speech outcome. So this is this Z plasty. Perlow's Z plasty. So this is the technique. This is a cleft palate. We have to just give the incision like this. This is in the shape of a Z. Okay, and after giving this, you can just extend this to the anterior region. You just have to raise two flap. This is one flap. This is another flap. Two flaps you have to raise. Submucoperiosteal dissection you have to done. Okay, you have to do this. Then like this you have to open the two flaps. This is a one part of a Z and this is another part of a Z. So it will be like this. This will be the defect, and you just have to rotate this flap on this side and this flap on this side. So it will take a form of a Z. That's why it is called as a Z plastic. Before doing this, you just have to close the inner layers in same fashion. Inner layer of muscles. Otherwise, there will be a formation of fistula. If there is only mucoperiosteum closure will be there, then there will be a formation of a fistula. So we have to close the muscles also in the same manner. Okay, and then we have to close the mucoperiosteum. So this is a this I have simplified this to understand. This is a point A, this is a point B. You have taken these incision, two incision. You just have to rotate this flap here and this flap here. So this A will go on this side and this B will come on this side. So this will close the defect. Previously this was the defect. Now the defect has been closed. So this is the widely used technique, and you can see after closure it will look like this. You can extend this flap to get the you can get the releasing incision. Um, if the defect is anteriorly placed, in that case also it is very helpful. So in this way, after the final closure, we will see the outcome. Then this is what the data regarding the furloughs, double opposing zeplasty. Okay. So next is the Sommerlath's technique. In this, they have used the operating microscopes and avoidance of the lateral relaxing incision. Lateral relaxing incisions were not given. Only used 10% of the time. It is also simple, but it is very technique sensitive and requires a lot of equipment. Required operating microscope. Palatopharyngeus muscles and levator vela palatine muscle aggressively dissected out. So this was the drawback of this technique, not Sommerlath's technique, because the speech outcome were not as good as the Furlough's technique. That's why this technique is not widely used. Okay. In case of this Sommerlath's technique, reported velopharyngeal incompetence cases was 5%. Okay. What is velopharyngeal incompetence? We'll see in the further slides. Okay. So this was the defect. Aggressive dissection of the muscles was done in this. So velopharyngeal incompetence, the chances of velopharyngeal incompetence is greater in this technique. So that's why this technique is not widely used. So what were the complications? Okay, cleft palate repair complications. Early complication might be bleeding, airway obstruction, and wound lesions. These are the very immediate complications after the surgery. In late complication, there might be a formation of oroantral fistula, tooth bud injury, or maxillary growth disturbance. This is the most important factor. If there is a maxillary growth disturbance in any case of repairing of the palate, then that technique is not widely used, because the later the outcome will be very not very promising. So that's why we have to go for the distraction osteogenesis and orthognathic surgeries also in such cases. So bleeding, first we'll discuss the bleeding. Usually immediate after the repair, occasionally a delayed event from the trauma, and this may hamper the airway, so it is life threatening. Okay, the trauma may occur due to the fingers or the pencil or the pen. The pressure first rarely requires return to the OT. Okay. Negative pressure, if develops inside the oral cavity, it may cause a dehiscence of the flap. Airway obstruction, most serious and life-threatening. So we have to take care of this post-operative edema, because all this technique most of the time we are using on the children, and they will not allow you to maintain the oral hygiene. They will not listen to you. So that's why it is very important that airway may obstruct. If there is any hematoma, they will not be able to explain us that there is obstruction. So we have to take care of the child for at least 8 to 10 days post surgery in the intensive care unit. Okay. Then the tongue swelling might be the one of the problem due to the retractor. Yeah, as you have seen, there is a huge retractor. There is a Wigman's retractor. So in that case also you have to take care of the airway obstruction. Then third is the wound dehiscence, very common complication. If the repair is not possible, wound dehiscence can be there if there is excessive tension, and if the closure is not functional, if the muscles are not closed before the mucosa, then there can be a chances of the wound dehiscence. So this is one of the common complications. You may get a SAQ on this. What are the common complications for the cleft palate repair? Then oroantral fistula. Oroantral fistula is also a very common complication. Varying severity, small fistula and large fistulas. So in these cases, oroantral fistula if occurs, then will be a regurgitation, and you have to go for the secondary surgeries. So this is also one of the complication. Main factor is the surgeon's experience. Okay, width of the cleft and the repair technique. If the width of the cleft is more, and you have chosen the simple techniques such as one Langen Max technique, then it will not going to serve your purpose, and there will be a fistula. Okay, so you have to choose the technique very wisely. Also it will depends on the surgeon's experience. So oriental fistula can be there. The tooth bud injury, this also depends on the, we can call it as a iatrogenic complication. Okay, while elevation of the mucopharyngeal flap, you can injure the tooth bud. Then palatoplasty 4 to 14 months of age. Also, the timing is very important. It may hamper the growth also. The 16 month of age primary, mostly the primary first molar is erupted. So make a palatal incision lingual to the crest of the alveolus. This is one of the tip for the surgeons, that you have to make the palatal incision lingual to the crest of the alveolus, okay, to avoid the tooth bud injury. So this is the most important maxillary growth disturbance. Most of the time, due to the fibrosis, you can just get this complication of maxillary growth disturbances. If the closure is not possible, fibrosis will be there. There is still a debate is going on that. A fibrosis will be there, which will lead to the restricted growth of the maxilla. So this is the main reason, that is a fibrosis, and fibrosis will occur due to the excess of a mucoperiostral stripping. So whenever we are doing the cleft palate patient, we just have to make sure that we are not doing the excessive mucoperiostral stripping. Excessive mucoperiostral stripping will cause the fibrosis, and this fibrosis will lead to maxillary growth disturbances. Okay, and the patient may require orthodontic surgery in the later stage. Velopharyngeal incompetence. As we were discussing, what is velopharyngeal incompetence? Velopharyngeal incompetence is patient is diagnosed as being unable to raise the velum to meet the posterior pharyngeal wall to seal the nasal airway during the speech. The patient is having the problem during the speech due to the because the patient is unable to raise the velum to meet the posterior pharyngeal wall. In short, there will not be a complete seal um, while patient will pronounce the words like N, M, like we are doing in the prosto department. Okay, that complete C will not be there when you are pronouncing these kind of words containing the N and M. So that is called as velopharyngeal incompetence, and patient will have problem during the speech. Causes secondary to the cleft of the secondary palate, then scarred palate, short palate, palatal fistula, and submucous cleft palate. These are all the causes of the velopharyngeal incompetence. So this can be a second. We need a secondary surgery for velopharyngeal incompetence. Even after the primary surgery for the cleft, velopharyngeal incompetence can be there. You may get an MCQ, or definitely you can get a SAQ on this velopharyngeal incompetence. So this is a very important topic. Okay. So surgical technique to manage this complication, that is velopharyngeal incompetence, mostly superiorly based pharyngeal flaps are taken. Okay, so sphincter pharyngoplasty. The technique of this repair of the velopharyngeal incompetence is called as pharyngoplasty. There are various techniques for the pharyngoplasty also, but we will discuss what is most widely used, that is superiorly based pharyngeal flaps. These kind of a superiorly based pharyngeal flaps are taken. You will get the defect over here. Okay, these two flaps are raised, and you just have to reapproximate these two flaps. Okay, you can see this is a soft palate. If there is a defect, you can just raise two flaps and just suture them, so that there will be a complete seal in the postural pharyngeal area. Okay, so this is a surgical technique for velopharyngeal incompetence. Mostly we are using the superiorly based pharyngeal flaps. There are various techniques available, but this is the most commonly used. Okay. The next SAQ or the LAQ you will get on alveolar, sorry, not LAQ, or part of LAQ or MCQ you will get on alveolar bone grafting. This is very important in case of a cleft lip and cleft palate patient. Most of the time this is done as a secondary surgery. Okay, but primary, in some surgeons may prefer alveolar bone grafting as a primary surgery also, or in case of a cleft lip and cleft palate, they will do the grafting in the primary surgery itself. That is called as primary alveolar bone grafting. Alveolar bone grafting is a primary and a secondary type. So according to the timing, they are based, according to the timing, we can just classify them as a primary, younger than 2 years of age; early primary, 2 to 5 years of age; secondary, greater than 5 years of age. You may get MCQ on this. Okay, and the common sites from where we are taking the rib, from where we are taking the graft, is rib, tibia, and iliac crest. The most commonly used is the iliac crest, because in the iliac crest you will get the lot of a cancellous bone, and mostly this technique is done after this 6 to 7 years of age, because at that stage you will get the more bone for the filling. Okay, so in older patient, iliac is the most frequently used, as it is a rich source of purely, as it is the rich source of purely cancerous bone, and it is done with a trap door of cortical bone is used. That means you just a trapdoor. Trapdoor means you'll get an MCQ on this. What is trapdoor? You just have to make a trap door over there. Okay, you just have to take that much of cortical bone out, then you can just scoop out the cancellous bone, and again you have to fix that cortical bone over the iliac crest region. So that is called as trap door technique for the iliac crest graft, harvesting of the iliac crest graft. And we need a cancellous bone, that's why cortical bone we are putting back again, that is called as trap door. Okay, surgical technique is alveolar bone grafting. Okay, this is secondary stage surgery. They have taken the alveolar graft from the iliac crest, and like this we have to place the graft, and we have to make the models also pre-op and post-op to show the results. So iliac crest graft most widely used complication, infected donor site can be there, hematoma can be there, and failed graft because these are not a vascularized graft. So failure of the graft or the dehiscence or the skeletal processes is most commonly found in this kind of a technical bone grafting. So the most important is the timing. Okay, so when you can use the primary bone grafting and secondary bone grafting, most of the time secondary bone grafting is better than the 5 years. So moving towards the conclusion, the cleft palate repair is technically a demanding operation. Proper tissue handling, meticulous dissection is required. Many techniques have been described to repair the palate, but most widely used is still the von Langenbach's technique, which is the oldest technique given in the 1859, and also depend on the surgeon's preferences. Different surgeons prefer different techniques, and also different institutes are carrying out their different techniques. Okay, and also whatever technique chosen, the patient's safety is always the priority. Meticulous dissection and the speech therapy is very important, because most of the patient will come to you with the complaint of a difficulty in speech only. Okay, the speech therapy is also important. Be prepared to deal with the complications in case of a cleft palate patient. Thank you. This is all about the cleft palate. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask. So we have finished the cleft lip as well as the cleft palate.
Sir, uh, sir, can you please explain, sir, that Z?
Oh, yeah, yeah. You want the explanation
Sir,
regarding the Z plastic?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because, sir, I wasn't able to understand, sir, how to place that flap.
Okay.
Once we are doing it, so how we are placing the flap?
Yeah, definitely. I'll just show you again. No problem on that. Basically, we have to take 2 incisions only. I'll show you again. Okay. So, are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
You have to take, this is a cleft palate. You just have to take 2 incisions, first over here and second over here. Okay, so just have to imagine this flap. Okay, this is your cleft. You just have to take 2 incision and do the mucoperiosteal stripping over here. Okay, so this flap will go on this side, and this flap will go on this side. Here it will be a tip, and here will be a base of this flap. Okay, you can just flip this flap here and this flap here like this. Okay, so you'll get these 2 flaps. You have given only 2 incision, this incision and this incision. Then you are doing the mucoperiosteal stripping. Okay, so you'll get these 2 flaps, these 2 points. You just have to rotate this point. This point was previously here. Now you have to rotate this point over here. And this point was previously here. This point will come over here. Okay, so after rotation of this flap, it will close the defect completely. And before closing the mucoperiosteum, you just have to seal the musculature also. Okay, so that there will be no dehiscence. I'll explain you again. Okay, this is the first incision, this is the second incision. This incision, this point A, the tip will be point A. This is your cleft. Okay, and this will be a point B. This point will be a point B. So when we will rotate, this point will come here and this point will come here, like this. Okay, so this cleft will be closed by suturing these 2 flaps. So you will see the final result like this. Okay, this flap initially was here, and this flap initially was here,
Right, okay.
and this is the extension. Got it?
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other question? Please don't leave. I just want to make sure that the photograph I have to take that. Somebody please note down the attendance. Okay. Last time we were having some problem. Any other questions? We have time, I guess. Yeah, 5 minutes. Wait. To get back to it. Any other question I can answer. If you have any problem, you can just ask. Because this is a little confusing, but very easy once you will know all the integers. So anybody is having any question? Have somebody noted the attendance? You can reply now. Hello. Just a minute. Just a minute, please don't leave. Okay, so I hope everybody got the concept of cleft palate. If you have any question, you can ask it later. Okay, so I end the meeting here. Thank you so much.